Hi everyone, Amy here, and just before we begin I want to really quickly give a shout out to Skillshare, who are now working with us here on What Culture Comics to help give you access to all sorts of awesome classes, but we will have more on that later.
Comic book characters are changing all the time, and it's actually the case that some of these redesigns and rejigs have gone on to become the most iconic version of a given hero or villain, to the point where some just assume they were always around to begin with. Redesigns can sometimes be a bit hokey, but a surprising amount have managed to stick the landing. I'm Ewan, you're watching What Culture Comics, and here are the 10 best superhero redesigns. Number 10. Amanda Connor's Harley Quinn. Okay, so I love me some Batman Arkham. The gameplay is phenomenal, the voice acting is superb, and no other game has really ever come close to making you feel as though you're embodying the Bat as that trilogy. All that said, aesthetically, the games can sometimes leave a lot to be desired, and especially so if we're talking about Harley Quinn, who donned a theme-appropriate nurse's outfit for Arkham Asylum and proceeded to ditch the iconic jester garb from Batman the Animated Series and the comics in Arkham City and Knight. Arkham City's Harley has since become the template for the character's looks in multiple incarnations, with dip-dyed hair replacing the old jester hat. What followed was a series of uninspired male-gazy looks for Harl, with the worst offender by far being her first outfit for the New 52 Suicide Squad. I literally have no idea what's going on with any of that. But then, thankfully, Amanda Connor came in to save the day with her and husband Jimmy Palmiotti's character-defining run on Harley in 2013. Other creators would proceed to riff on the look Connor designed for that run as well, with highlights coming from Injustice 2 and Bruno Redondo's Suicide Squad from 2020. Number 9. Iron Man's red and gold armor. With starring roles in multiple comics and Robert Downey Jr.'s career-saving turn as Tony Stark on the big screen, Iron Man is one of the most popular characters in Marvel's stable. As you might expect for a character so indelibly linked to technology, Iron Man has received numerous upgrades over the years, something paralleled on the big screen with the introduction of nanotechnology in Avengers Infinity War. However, without a doubt the most significant change to his design was the first one, which switched the cast iron palette of the original suit to something much flashier. By necessity of the narrative, Stark's first suit was rudimentary, ill-fitting, and made of mismatched parts. After all, he did build it in a cave from a box of scraps. When he returned home, the suit was retooled from the clunky silver monstrosity he wore originally into the red and gold design we know and love today. Various tweaks to the helmet shape and general design have followed, but that initial choice to opt for such bold colours was a huge part of why Iron Man became iconic. Number 8. Wolverine's brown and tan look. Wolverine has had a lot of cool looks over the years, with highlights including Frank Quitely's new X-Men design and of course the classic yellow and blue from his initial introduction. However, all these looks pale in comparison to the truly definitive Wolvie costume, the brown and tan one introduced by John Byrne in the 1980s. Byrne removed the shoulder pads and changed the colour scheme, and while the yellow and blue has stuck around much longer, creators have recognised themselves that it's nowhere near as good as the brown and tan, with a modern version making a comeback in Jonathan Hickman's Dawn of X reboot in 2019. Number 7. Drax the Destroyer's redesign in Annihilation. Drax's costume change for Annihilation is one of the biggest changes on this list, as it made such a huge difference to the character's general ambiance. The new design ditched the cape and the old body, and as soon as it was gone, everyone realised how strange it was in the first place. Look, capes are great on some heroes. Superman, Batman, and Thor all look fantastic with their mothers' drapes across their shoulders. It was supposed to give him the look of a battle-hardened warrior, but by the time Annihilation rolled around, the trope was dated, and as such, it fell out of character. Taking away the cape allowed him to be a much more imposing character, able to carve out his own identity as the Guardian's stock rose. Given the meteoric rise of the gang's popularity over the last decade, it definitely worked out for the best.
Now, at the start of the video, I told you that we had partnered up with Skillshare, which, for the uninitiated, is a huge online learning community, complete with classes in everything from video and illustration to design, cooking, crafts, costs pretty much anything you can think of, and we have got a really awesome deal for you to try it out. We are legitimately delighted to be working with them here on What Culture Comics, because not only am I quietly expanding my skill set like some sort of content Thanos, but we've also been using the classes to help us produce videos right here on the channel. Case in point, Josh has managed to mask his dying plants out the back of his shots, and I have been learning how to tell a better visual story with Halise Narve's Video for Instagram class. Most of my videos are over 10 minutes long, and I get into such a habit of editing for a longer form product that I kind of forget about all the creative possibilities of shorter videos. With this class, I'm learning how to edit for a completely different platform, and in doing that, I can improve my skills overall and apply it to whatever edit I find myself doing. We would really love you guys to get the same experience and have access to these classes as well. So we're offering What Culture viewers a free membership trial of Skillshare Premium for 1 entire month. But Amy, I thought you only got 2 weeks for this sort of thing. I mean, yeah, normally, but we are incredibly not normal, and that's why we're giving you a whole month. Plus, you deserve it. Just click the link in the description, and if you're one of the first 1,000 to do so, you'll get unlimited access to thousands of classes from quality teachers for an entire month. Absolutely free. So whether you're a certified pro like me or a haphazard hobbyist also like me, you can get your creative juices flowing all over your furniture. Thanks again to everyone at Skillshare. We will have more on this in the coming months, but for now, let's get back to the video.
Number 6. Babs Tarr's Batgirl. In truth, it's kind of hard to mess up Batgirl's costume. The character has perhaps more than any other figure in Batman's library received a serious amount of great looks, with Bruce Timm's new Batman Adventures design and Lee Garbett's purple and black look for Stephanie Brown in particular looking really cool. However, while both those designs are worthy of merit, there is one that exploded in popularity and influence during the 2010s, Babs Tarr's from the Batgirl of Burnside. Batgirl's Burnside days was one of the lasting successes of the New 52, taking Barbara Gordon back to college and to Gotham's trendy student suburb. This necessitated a new look, and Tarr more than rose to the occasion. Looking for something that was both practical and stylish, Babs' new design was comprised of separate elements and went on to inspire several redesigns for other characters in the years following, including a short-lived Spider-Woman remix later that decade. Gordon has since changed looks again to better match the wider tone of the Bat Family titles, but this was definitely a reinvention DC fans won't soon be forgetting. Number 5. Nightwing's black and blue costume. Nightwing started out as Robin, so technically the character began in the classic red and green costume. Following his graduation to Nightwing, however, he tried out a few different costumes before setting on the classic we all know and love today. After outgrowing the Robin getup, Nightwing initially had a disco-style outfit, bearing his chest for some reason with a golden fringe along the open lapels. It was a choice. The bright blue shoes and gloves felt a little off too, especially considering Nightwing was supposed to be sort of stepping out of Batman's shadow, but in turn following in his footsteps by being darker and more mature. 2 other looks would then follow. The first, a slightly more tactical looking getup with a golden wing across the front, and the second courtesy of artist Brian Stelfreeze, who streamlined Dick Grayson's garb to a sleek looking black and blue composite, which has stuck with the character ever since. Creators have changed certain elements of the design here or there, but Stelfreeze's rejig is secretly one of comics' most enduring. Number 4. Wally Wood's Daredevil. Strangely, for a man without fear, Daredevil's original costume was the colour of fear itself, bright yellow. The costume was a little goofy, as was everything typical of that era, but when Wally Wood took over art duties for the character in 1964, everything changed. It was a little melodramatic and a far cry from the grittier comic book style to come, but it laid the groundwork for Daredevil's development spectacularly. The switch to the all-red getup gave him a much more ominous feel, and removed the acrobatic, slightly whimsical feel of the name Daredevil and made it into something more ominous and powerful. It really is hard to imagine the character being so successful today if not for Wally Wood's early tune-up. Number 3. Hal Jordan's Green Lantern. Despite the fact that several different characters have been Green Lantern down the decades, if you ask most fans what Lantern's real name is, they'll probably say Hal Jordan. However, Hal wasn't actually the first to take up the moniker. He was just the first one to do so while looking so good. It could be argued that this isn't a true redesign, as it's a completely different costume on a completely different character, and one who has inherited the superhero title from the other. However, usually when this happens, the new character adopts a similar outfit to the original, possibly with some minor tweaks. Hal Jordan's costume, though, was a total near down, and it was all the better for it. I might like it, but it's okay to admit that Alan Scott's costume was silly, mismatched, and kind of looked like his mum had helped him put together something for a superhero dress-up party. Hal's costume, by comparison, was much sleeker. He clearly took Edna Mode's advice and ditched the cape first of all, ditching the splattered colour palette too, with green overalls and black sleeves making for a much better look. Number 2. Jamie McKelvie's Captain Marvel. This was less a redesign and more a revolution for Carol Danvers, with her whole look being revamped as she took up her new title. The moniker of Ms. Marvel is currently held by Kamala Khan, with Danvers taking up the mantle of Captain in 2012. The old Ms. Marvel look, with the black leotard and the bare legs, has been switched for blue overalls with a red trim and a yellow star at the centre in place of the old lightning bolt, courtesy of artist Jamie McKelvie, who also provided defining looks for Loki and Ms. Marvel during his tenure at Marvel. Overall, it's just got a much more kick-ass vibe, reminiscent of a Top Gun pilot and much more suited to her power as one of the strongest Avengers ever. And number 1. Darwyn Cooke's Catwoman. Catwoman tops the list because it's a change that seems fairly minor at first, but it's infinitely cooler than her old look and has gone on to become her definitive iconic garb that all others have taken inspiration from. Female superheroes wearing catsuits is nothing too special. Black Widow, Black Canary, and Black Cat all wear them to some degree, and Catwoman herself was designed to have a sensual tone, perhaps best typified by Eartha Kitt's performance in the Adam West-led Batman show. Because of this, her costume often lacked a bit of practicality, and worse, felt very rooted to its original era and often came off as being a bit dated. Leave it to the late great Darwyn Cooke to introduce a redesign that changed all of that in 2001. The catsuit was kept, but it became much more suited to her cat burglary, adding zippers, pockets, and putting less emphasis on her curves. It looked, for the first time ever, like an outfit she might have wanted rather than one an artist picked out for her. Perhaps the most influential change, though, was the addition of her goggles, an accessory that quickly became a staple from there on out. It gave Selina a much more modern, high-tech feel and dragged her into the present, and it was all thanks to Cooke. And those were just 10 of the best superhero redesigns ever committed to print. Let me know what your favourite redesigns are in the comments below, and please be sure to drop the video a like if you enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed to Wild Culture Comics too, so you don't miss more content like this every week. But in any case, I've been Ewan, make sure you're supporting your local comic book store, and I will see you next time. Bye!